Fellas, a key big time mistake that a lot of you make is trying to, well, here's the thing. You don't go in meeting and the woman at the level that she's at. You go in trying to impress or trying to show that you're better than other men that she may be dealing with, right? That seems like the smart, logical thing to do. But you got to take into account. Remember, I talk a lot about the psychological aspect things on this channel of things from a strategy position, not just from an emotional viewpoint or just basic talking, but from a strategy psychologically. Whenever a man meets a woman and he likes her, you digging on this female, you really like her. You're trying to gain her interest, her attention. So you start trying to do things that would be considered nice, would be considered accommodating. Um, all of the things that you may hear women say they want on social media and what they post and all that. Forget all that shit, man. Fuck that. That's what's going to get you in trouble. Because the fact of the matter is, with any woman, you cannot go into the situation trying to separate yourself as being a different man than what she's used to. You're going to fail out the gate. You have to go into the situation meeting her at the level of what she's used to. I know you might be thinking like, well, wait a minute, that's going to make me just like all the other dudes. And that's exactly the point, because her nervous system and the psychology of her mind is wired to accept what she's used to. What she's not used to, she will reject and fight. All right. Her nervous system isn't wired for a calm, cool, collective, mature, um, responsible, dependable, reliable type of guy. It's not wired for that. So when you come in being that way, it's not going to trigger anything in her. It's going to more so trigger suspicion more than it triggers acceptance. You're going to make her more suspicious of you by coming in being totally opposite, the total opposite thing of what she's used to in these other males. See, it's a pattern. If she has a pattern of running in, because it will be a pattern, they'll be them ran into the same type of guy over and over and over again. Now, the way you got to get her, you come in, I say this because it's kind of like this. Let's say you're in a football. Everybody out there hitting with pads, but you got a nice little jogging suit that you don't want to take off because you feel like you can do your thing and go out there without no pads and still compete when everybody else is in pads. Guess what you're going to get yourself? Hurt severely. You have to meet them on that field the way that everyone else is, and that's in pads. So when you meet a woman, it's kind of like the same thing. You have to meet her the way that every other guy met her. If she tells you, oh, the guy was this, that, and the third, and he didn't give her no attention, he was this, he was, the shit they be saying. That's not for you to think in your mind, well, oh, here's an angle for me. I'm going to be different. I'm going to show her how a man really should be. When you come out the gate like that, you've already fucked yourself. You're not going to get any brownie points. You're not going to get respected. She may like it, but it's out of her element. You got pads on coming in, and she don't have pads on. She gonna fear to get hurt, right? Or let me rephrase that. She has the pads on. You don't have the pads on. And you going into that situation where all the other guys, the guys she was dealing with, they was hitting with pads. She got her pads on. You going in there hitting without pads. You're gonna get hurt. She's not gonna respect it the same way. The impact isn't gonna be the same way. If she's used to drama, if she's used to no guy being consistent to her, right? She has an expectancy and a tolerance. This is key. She has a tolerance, a built in tolerance for that type of guy, meaning she could easily embrace and accept it again if it's not extreme, if it hasn't ran its course. Typically, most of them situations, the woman accepts that same type of guy over and over again until it runs its course and it's no longer useful or she can't tolerate it enough. This is where you have to be able to come in as the same, all the other guys, but then you start to pivot, shift easily, slowly into showing her bits and pieces of what that type of, masculine leadership type of guy that is reliable, dependable, assuring, and all these other qualities. You can't come out the gate like that. You cannot come out the gate like that as a man with these women. They are not used to that. The majority of them are not used to that. They date way on the lower end of the spectrum. It's drama based, trauma based, even, right? And because their system is wired that way to accept that, anything that comes in showing them the immediate opposite overwhelms them mentally, psychologically, emotionally, everything. So much goes on in their head that they can't process that shit, man. And she will back out off of that to get what is familiar to her. You have to be a familiar scene to the woman. And if she's used to these guys that assholes treating her, like, you have to know it's a delicate dance, man. You have to be able to know when to pivot at that right moment, but giving bits and pieces and glimpses of what the man that she needs to be with is in you. You can't just spawn all of that onto her out the gate. It never works with a woman. If you're not meeting them where they are and what they're used to, you've already lost. You're going to lose her. Don't think you're going to lose her meeting her, because it sounds counterintuitive that if you go in and you're the exact same thing she speaks about not liking, you think automatically, oh, that's going to cut me out. So you go in overcompensating, being extra nice, being extra considerate. She starts taking that as a weakness because her body was wired. Her nervous system is still craving parts of those aspects of the guys that she professes not to like. That's the confusing part about women. That's what gets so many guys tripped up. You take them literally. You feel like you just being a man over her, she should get it and be able to accept it and gravitate towards it, but it don't work that way. Meet her at what she's used to. You gradually, in increments, release and show the potentiality of the type of man that she could have in you. Not only that, it makes her seem like she grew with you. Makes it seem like y'all both grew. If you come in and it's gonna seem like you're way up here. If you come in being this guy that's principled and all of these other shit, it's gonna make you seem like you're too far reachable for where she is mentally and emotionally. Meet her at where she's at and gradually introduce other sides and other aspects of you that would differentiate you from those other men. It'll seem like y'all grew together. It'll seem like y'all learned together. It'll create a tighter bond. Anything else? You come in being that guy that's, the one that's gonna listen and, come to her aid and all that shit. And she ain't used to that. It's gonna be taken for granted. As long as her nervous system is wired to respond to a certain type of man, no matter how much good you do for her, it's not going to trigger her in any type of way. It's a slow process. And if she's worth it, if she's taken to you being in that way, and it's going to take you to have to be a certain, because even some of y'all think y'all could just go get a woman and she going to be already made in the way you want her to be. Ain't no woman going to be like that. Ain't no woman going to just be 100% ready out the box. It's going to take some work. They internalize the imprinting from males or men that they deal with a lot stronger, and it lasts in them longer, right? So every guy that they done been with has imprinted them in some sort of way, where they're molded psychologically too from these interactions with these certain types of men. So you have to be aware of that. You're getting a woman who's been imprinted and molded through interaction from the men that she's emotionally bonded with. You're not just going to get her and she's just going to be a clean slate. You're going to have to imprint her, but through the same familiarity of interaction that she's used to from all these other guys. It's the only way you're going to get leverage. Anything else, shit, you're working against yourself. And you're going to work harder. And you're going to be taken for granted. And you're going to feel unappreciative. More game, more knowledge for you. Anyway, if you like the video, make sure to like, share it, subscribe. Till next time, have a good one.